live in a time of servitude in which Africa has continued to fall further and further and further behind when it was actually the birthplace of man. If Nigeria does not manage to get it right and provide leadership for Africa, the Negro peoples of our planet could be in for another 5 or 1,000 years of servitude. That is the nature of the importance of the mission that we face. And this is why no stone should be left unturned in trying to make the business of how Nigeria is governed a prime one for everybody who has a sense of history and the dignity of the human person. One of the imperatives, therefore, of this moment is to ensure that the Nigerian people force the candidates, if INEC will not, by making it clear that any candidate that does not participate in at least 7 major public debates should not be on the ballot box. If he were on the ballot box, it should be boycotted by all citizens. Because it's an abuse of the Nigerian people, it's a mockery of the democratic process. And let me define democracy for you as perhaps the best thinker on this matter that we know of living, the German philosopher Jürgen Habermas. He's generally referred to as the philosopher of the public sphere. And Habermas, defining modernity and defining democracy and the confluence, the nexus of modernity and democracy, says that it's about rational public conversation through a marketplace of ideas. It is out of this that people make choice. These choices that are ennobling then lead to progress. Well, the first textile mill in Kaduna broke even in 1 month. Its first 6 months of production were pre-sold to Manchester merchants in England. And so our manufacturing, which had as its base textile, was an export-led industrialization strategy from get-go. When the Asians began export-led manufacturing, 15 years later, those of us who were studying in universities were told, Asians are export-led manufacturing. The import substitution industrialization strategy that Africa adopted, Asians had started with, is not working. Export-led is the future. We just forgot to tell them that we started export-led manufacturing 15 years before the Asians. But that our trade policies failed, especially because of oil in the case of Nigeria, and there we regressed. Today, all that textile-based manufacturing in Kaduna, which had become the second biggest employer in Nigeria outside of government, has died. Our strategy is to return to manufacturing based on what was actually the philosophy that the Sardauna started with, which today in structural economics is referred to as latent comparative advantage. Okay? That is to take your factor endowments and build global value chains off of them so that we'll be manufacturing for both export and local consumption, adding value. Nothing is going to be leaving this country like Baft or whatever. By the time you get a garment in Walmart in the US, it was processed, it was sewn, and it was exported from Nigeria. Campaigns should not just be about getting people somehow to vote for you. If it's just about getting people to vote for you, it's a terrible waste of resources. It must be to get society to think together and solve their problems, not only after the election, but even while it's going on.